What's up, guys? The Snowman here, back with another basketball informational video today. Free agency is the subject at hand. We're going to go over all things about NBA free agency. So things like the difference between a restricted free agent and an unrestricted free agent, when NBA players are eligible to change teams, just all the basics on how free agency works and operates.
So calendar-wise, usually the NBA Finals end in mid to late June every year. As soon as the season ends with that last game of the Finals, that's when teams can immediately start negotiating with free agents who just finished the previous season on their own roster. Then typically in late June, early July, NBA teams can start negotiating with free agents from other teams. In 2024, that date was June 30th. Then a week later, teams can begin signing official deals with free agents. For the 2024 calendar, that date was July 6th. So any deals done before July 6th were simply verbal agreements. No contracts officially get signed, though, until that second date. Again, typically that's 1 week into July. And there's two different types of free agents in the NBA. We have unrestricted free agents and restricted free agents. You'll hear a lot about both of those types of players in the offseason. Let's go over unrestricted free agents first. They're a bit more straightforward. An unrestricted free agent is a player whose current contract has expired. They're free to sign a new contract with any team in the league as long as the team has enough cap space. Once the unrestricted free agent signs their contract, they're officially part of that new team. They can also re-sign a new contract with their old team if both parties agree to that. So basically, like the name suggests, there's no restrictions as to which teams they can end up on. Now, a restricted free agent is slightly more complicated. Restricted free agents are most likely players at the end of their rookie scale contracts or young veterans in their first few years. Restricted free agency is meant to give the team slightly more control than the player. Basically, the restricted free agent can sign an offer sheet with any team in the league that can afford them. However, then the original team has the opportunity over 2 days to match that offer. If they do match, then the restricted free agent has to stay with the original team. It's also important to note that restricted free agents can turn into unrestricted free agents. In fact, these are the 5 basic options for a restricted free agent. He can accept his team's prior qualifying offer, play out the season, and become an unrestricted free agent the following summer. He can also accept his team's maximum qualifying offer where applicable and play under that long-term deal. The player can negotiate a new contract with the original team independent of the qualifying offer. Fourth, he can sign an offer sheet with another team, which his original team would have an opportunity then to match. And fifth, he can negotiate a sign and trade if he hasn't signed an offer sheet with another team. A sign and trade is essentially a deal where a team signs their own free agent only to trade him to another team right away. This is advantageous for both the player and the team in some cases because it can allow the player to get a higher salary than if they simply signed with a different team. It also helps the team because they retain the player as a trade asset as opposed to the player just becoming a sunk cost and leaving in free agency. So you will see sign and trades from time to time as well. One other thing I want to touch on that you'll hear about with free agency and contracts are player options and team options. A player option grants the player the power to decide whether to stay for an extra year or become an unrestricted free agent. For example, if a player has a 3-year contract with an option for the 4th season, that means if the option is exercised, the contract extends through the 4th season. If the option is not exercised by the player in this example, then the contract ends after 3 years. The player would then become an unrestricted free agent. It's very beneficial for the player because it provides them added security as they can decide partially how long a contract will last. On the other hand, a team option grants the original team the right to keep the player for another year. So if a player has a 3-year contract with a team option for the 4th season, that means if the option is exercised by the team, the contract would extend through the 4th season. If the option is not exercised by the team, the contract will be terminated after 3 seasons. And once a player or team option is exercised, it cannot be revoked.
Thanks a lot for watching my free agency explained video. Please leave a comment. Let me know if you still got any questions or concerns about how free agency works. I don't know if I can do much since I'm not Commissioner Silver, but yeah, let me hear anything you got, and please subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media for more basketball and other sports content. Cheers!